good morning, afternoon, and good night, or whatever ungodly hour you find yourself listening. We are Bards Against Humanity, here to strum your loot and absolutely wreck your ear holes. So grab your tankard and prepare for a podcast that hits harder than a nat 1 in bed, because we're coming in your ears.
In today's episode, I'm myself, Leo, are here, and so is Dan.
Howdy.
And we're here talking to you about the fighter class, especially with all the brand new changes from the 2024 update. Let's get into it.
So sit back, relax, and I don't know, grab a fucking cup of coffee or something. I don't know what you do.
Get some Jaffa cakes. Maybe not with coffee. Nearly immediately tangented. That's exactly my thought process. I'm like, what do you have with coffee? I love Jaffa cakes.
I believe fighter is your favorite class, just based on the campaigns that we've played.
Yeah, so we've done, 5 campaigns, I think? There's several one-shots in there as well, but I think we've done 4 or 5 main campaigns, and I've always gone fighter.
It's in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's the first one you always choose. It should be something simple that you can get to really just enjoy the concept of it. So you go fighter. It's the easiest one, especially when looking at the 2014 rules. It's super easy. There's not much to it. You pick up a sword, you hit things. Dan would be the DM for the majority of those campaigns, so I spend time optimizing the fighter. But they've given it a lot more flavor. They've given it more utility, which is why a lot of people are saying that where it's like, oh, the fighter class has gotten so much. That's because if you add spice to a curry, you still get a curry. You add spice to coffee, you get yelled at.
I don't think they got yelled at, though, for the fighter, if this is the comparison you're trying to make. I think people praised it.
Well, no, we're hearing about it, is the main comment I made. I can't think of any obscure thing you'd add spice to and notice so you'd notice it. And they've added a lot of stuff early on, which I think is really good. So people doing... So you don't have to reach level 20 to actually feel how cool the new fighter class is. You get it from level 1, which is really nice.
Yeah, they like beforehand, I think was what all you got in level 1 was your fighting style and second wind. So you could at least define a little bit about what your character was like. In comparison to 2024, you have your second wind, you have your fighting style, you have weapon masteries, which is basically just base class maneuvers. So they've added a little bit of battle master flavor to how fighters work, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, they've really added just kind of some really interesting parts, because all different types of, depending on what type of fighter you are, you can kind of have a slightly different effect. You can give enemies 10 feet less movement. You can push them away. You can get advantage. You can give them disadvantage on hitting you. All depends on the fighter that you are and the weapon you're holding.
So you can really
cool.
define like your flavor, how you're going to play from very, very early on, which is great. Like you could, to an extent, do that with the 2014 Player's Handbook rules for it, but it was just like your fighting style and second wind. And let's be honest, you're probably choosing something like a greatsword or a longsword anyway. But now those choices have more of an impact with having extra effects they can do on top of that. Like, what are some examples of from like the one shot or two that we've done since the 2024 rules have come out? Like, what would you pick for your weapon master?
I'm definitely I'm still getting used to it, so I'm still very much not letting the weapon mastery choose my weapon. I'm letting the weapon and then seeing what perk I have after. But there's a really interesting one that they're bringing in, which is, we'll get onto it. You can get it later on as a fighter, and you're able to choose between 3 different ones. And I think slow would probably be the most interesting one. So what it does, you hit a creature and deal damage. You reduce its speed by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. This doesn't stack, so you can't let someone be immovable, but let's say someone's trying to get away, someone's trying to maneuver to hit someone who's down. It'll limit their movement, which movement control is so important in D&D. So I think that'll be one that'll end up being more interesting than you think.
It's kind of like borrowing a little bit of what Ray of Frost does for spellcasters. Ray of Frost does the same thing on a hit, reduces the movement speed by 10 until the start of your next turn. Always very good, and especially at lower levels, it makes a huge impact on how battlefield control is implemented with your combat scenarios. And I know that it will probably in future impact my decision-making process in the middle of a battle.
Yeah, and especially considering, so they would be done with long-range weapons, so you're nearly guaranteeing that they won't be able to get to you.
Oh yes, I used to be able to take down a down player, but then I took an arrow to the knee and I couldn't quite make it. So
it's
just going to be my mentality going forward.
Yeah, 100%. And then if you're up in the front lines, now these are more with, I'm pretty certain they're finesse weapons, like the dagger, the scimitar. They might get a bit more love because their master property is really good. It's a nick, where you can make an additional attack against a target if your first attack was made while dealing 2 light weapons.
Okay, so it kind of adds a little bit of choice into, say, if you wanted to dual wield rapiers, because I believe rapier counts as a light weapon, or if you just wanted to, do the flavor, like as how solo leveling is so popular right now, and same with Shangri-La Frontier in the anime side. Both main characters dual wield daggers, so you can really kind of lean into the flavor of that if you so wanted to.
And they're not a bonus action. It's an add-on, what I would like to call a free action, but I understand has an actual term, which I care not for. Rules is imagined in my book. I don't like anything raw. Only rules is imagined.
One of the new things that they did for fighters, I believe, at second level as well, is tactical mind, which does seem really cool. So you have a mind for tactics on the battlefield, and when you fail an ability check, you can expend a use of your second wind to push yourself towards that success. Rather than regaining hit points, you roll a d10 and add the number rolled to the ability check, potentially turning it into a success. And even if it fails, second wind isn't expended.
Yeah, no, it's big. And it's big because second wind is mainly just so that your party's cleric can touch someone else for a bit, so it doesn't overly get used if you do have a relatively good cleric. So you just end up with this second wind that does niche. But now with tactical mind, you're kind of end up very similar to, I think there's a similar thing with the rogue. Do not hold me to that. I am the fighter guy, where you're actually able to use it properly. So it probably will now get used, and you'll be like, oh damn, I need to long rest. I now need my second wind open so I can make sure that I always pass. Bit more flexibility, and I think that's what they're trying to do with everything regarding the fighter. More options.
Anything that does more for you, in most cases, will be good.
But that's a fact about life, Daniel.
It is indeed.
If my pen could fly me to Majorca, that would be a very good pen.
It would be an incredibly good pen. Also be a very expensive pen and highly sought after pen.
Then you know it's definitely in Saudi Arabia. Moving on.
Moving swiftly forward. One of the other changes that I did actually kind of like in 2024 changes is the use, that everyone gains their subclass at level 3. There's no more subclasses getting them earlier than others, although off the top of my head, I'm still fully trying to commit all the rules in 2024 to memory, so I will be prepared to eat my words if wizards still get their arcane tradition much earlier than everyone else. But most, if not all, subclasses get picked at level 3, which is quite nice.
I'm also just delighted they've changed the fucking name of it, if I'm being honest. Martial archetype is like, it sounds like a disease that I could contract in Southeast Asia. Fighter subclass. I don't know what they were going through their minds for martial archetype. I don't know if they wanted to make the fighter sound bougier than it was, when MASH is just an attacked cooked spud.
I think what they were going for was just general simplicity, so there's no confusion over it, where someone just refers to, like, say, clerics, for example, with their what used to be called divine domain. It's just your clerical subclass now, or your cleric subclass. The one thing I will miss and would probably still refer to is sorcerers. I think it was like sorcerer's origin was what their subclasses were called, and that was from level 1. Because, like Maybelline,
why not?
Unlike Maybelline, they were born with that subclass.
Sponsored by no one. If anyone wants to throw a hat in, Maybelline, we're looking at you.
Yeah,
because D&D and clear skin.
Hell yeah.
I'm thinking of Baby Bell.
Fuck do you go from Maybelline to Baby Bell?
I don't know.
There's not even a clear rank of association between the two.
I don't know.
Maybe
I don't
Bell,
know, man.
The kind of maybe born with it.
Maybe born with it. Maybe I'm born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
We'll come back to the subclasses later on. We'll just go through the main base class differences first. Still the same. You have your ability score improvement at level 4. And still with the fighter, you have many ASIs or feats that you can take. First at 4, then 6, 8, 12, 14, and 16 are your main points for ASI. And don't forget the 19th level epic boon and or feat. No, just or feat.
Yeah, no, it's just, you just get an epic boon, and these boons are really interesting. I don't know, I don't know if you've had a look at them, but they kind of, they're a little bit bougier. Yeah, they're very bougie feet. Dorothy slippers, they're bougie feet.
They are, and we can come back to those in a beautiful amount of detail
Fun.
later on.
We will. There's a couple of things that I do also like. The fact that there's a few renaming things that just, I assume they just wanted to make the fighter sound cool without making it cool. Like the extra attack ×2 in brackets. Very. Does that mean I have 2 extra attacks? Does that mean I have 2 attacks in total? No. 2 extra attacks, 3 extra attacks, 1 extra attack. Thank you very much, 2024. Life is simple when it is made simple.
Your level 5 is still your second attack, which is the most impactful level of the entire game still. Fighters with your extra attack, same with barbarians and rangers. You have cantrips getting upgraded to the next level. It's a huge shift in power in favor of the players, which means I as the DM can throw some lovely stuff at you now.
Yeah. And once again, we're using that the second wind. We're changing up what you can do with that as well at level 5, where you can move up to half your speed without provoking an opportunity attack, which as a fighter, you're on the front lines. Maybe you want to get out of there because he's mean and you didn't pick up Mage Slayer just yet. Don't worry, you'll level up to it and you'll get that Mage Slayer. I know you will. So maybe you want to get out of there. You're able to use your second wind die again, which I think is it's one of the primary things that they've decided to do with the character, with the class even, which I like. I think it's good. It's good.
It is very, very good because it's like a slightly more niche version of mobile, even though mobile only gives enemies disadvantage on attacks against. Oh no, sorry, I'm completely messing that up. Mobile is just if you've made a melee attack, you can move away without provoking an opportunity attack. So it's like another niche version of it. So if you had that with mobile, it's like you're pretty much up in the front lines and you're not going to be taking opportunity attacks. You can kind of run and poke and do your thing and get out if you need to. It effectively gives you 1.5 times your movement speed if you needed to get the fuck out of that fight. You're low on HP, activate your second wind, you've regained a little bit, now get out.
My apologies, you're dead right.
You still get the healing, yeah. It's not that you use a second wind, move half your speed without provoking opportunity attacks. You just activate second wind, and as part of that same bonus action, you can move half your movement speed. But the way I'm reading it here, rules is written, it gives you half your movement speed. But I don't know because I know some people would interpret it that you can move half your movement speed, and once you've done that, you only have 15 feet left, say, basically. The way I see it is any ability that allows you to move up to half your movement speed just gives you that half movement speed to move for free, and then at least I would allow you to move that extra 30 feet. That's at least the way I've interpreted it here.
Very nice of you, Dan. You are a generous god.
I am a benevolent god, but I will be mean. Don't feed my ego as a DM. That's the worst thing you can do.
The best thing you can do if you want an item that is like a bit pricey, just suck off your DM in the background throughout the week. And I guarantee you that following week, there's been a 50% fire sale.
Hard to do that when I'm a country away, isn't that, Leo?
Hey, I'll give you that Pac-Man treatment when you come back.
Oh God, I really hope my fiance doesn't hear this. The other thing that's still the same is level 9 Indomitable. Thank God I said that without struggling.
Yeah.
It's still like basically just a weaker version of Legendary Resistance. You can just re-roll the save, use the new roll. If you fail this, it's the same as you use it if you fail the saving throw, and you re-roll it with a bonus equal to your fighter level, which I think has been changed from the original Indomitable, if I remember correctly. Yes, if I look at
it's a little bit bootier.
Yeah, so the original Indomitable didn't give you that bonus equal to your fighter level. It just allowed you to re-roll using the same bonuses.
Yes.
But you must use the new roll. At least with this kind of updated one, at higher levels, especially when you're failing really impactful saving throws, you have a huge bonus to that on top of that. So say you failed a con save, and as a fighter you already have proficiency in those anyway. Say you had you had a plus 11 to your con save, and say you were level 19, 20, that's an extra 19 or 20 added onto that. But even at lower levels, that's still impactful, because 2 or 3 points could be the difference between failing and success.
Well, also you'd only get Indomitable when you're level 9, so that's plus 9.
So it is at base, yeah, plus 9, which is incredible. An extra reroll is nice. We take that here.
We take that. We take everything that's new and gives us stuff. We like it. I don't know about you, Dan, but I'm definitely, when I went off to school fairs, I picked up every manual that was there. Anything free, you got a free pen for me? It's going in the bag. I went to a careers fair. I left with 2 little weird backpacks of random stuff that I'm never going to use. I don't care about farming or piloting, but will I pick up your pen? Damn right I will. Free stuff is always good.
Free stuff is always good, but we'll try and stick to the eco-friendly ones.
Oh, the bags were eco-friendly, maybe.
Maybe, possibly. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Do you know what? I don't think they cared at that point. It was well before when we cared about the planet, which was about maybe 4 years ago.
I think we cared about the planet a little bit, but more than 4 years ago.
Actually, yeah. When did they get rid of plastic straws?
A long time ago. I can't even remember.
That feels like time. I can't believe there could be potentially adults today that have never purchased a plastic straw. That kind of scares me. Because I had plastic straws at uni. And they were a dream. I didn't realize I had to stockpile them. I didn't realize they'd be taking them away from me.
That's why I bought some reusable and dishwasher friendly ones.
Yeah, but they're just a bit shit too.
They're not that bad.
I don't know. It's if you don't clean them right, you get mold and it's gross. And it's like, I didn't have these worries before.
Now you've got responsibilities.
Yeah. I just want sign a petition, get the plastic straws back. Let's do it. If the turtles are dying from them, they were a dumb turtle anyway.
And now that opinion is out there forever.
That's so true.
Anyway, moving swiftly back towards the initial anchor of this conversation. Yeah. Indomitable.
Guess what? Guess what? Do you know what you also get at level 9?
Practical Master.
Yeah, you're able to play around with the weapon mastery a bit more. I spoke about it a little bit earlier. This is it, level 9, where whatever weapon you have, you're able to use the weapon mastery effect of sap, slow, or push. More options. It seems to me that they think that's one of the 3 best ones,
or at least makes most sense for a fighter. Push is, if I remember correctly, it's the opposite. It's like slow. You can push them either 5 or 10 feet. 10 feet back.
10 feet.
The sap is. Don't help me with this one.
Don't. Okay. Good luck.
Don't let me try. Is it like it like saps their energy or something? It gives them like disadvantage on the next attack they make, or like save.
That is. Yep.
Hey.
Yeah. Next attack. Right.
And then slow, which we talked about earlier, reduces their speed by 10.
Yeah, it's either they think they're going to be the most popular, or they're going to be the hardest ones to get naturally, just because of the weapon types that they're from. Maybe, I don't know.
Like we were saying earlier on, that they're just giving the fighter more options to use, and it doesn't say that you have to have that weapon to use it. It just says that you, when you attack with a weapon whose mastery property you can use, you can replace that property with push, slap, or which is cool.
It's going to be so funny watching your fighter slap a goblin and having to chase it around the battlefield as it pushes it 10 feet away each time. That'll be hilarious. I can't wait to do that.
Do you know what?
Because it has to be under a large. Sorry, a large or under.
Large or under,
so we
okay.
Can even be, I don't even know exactly what's the stupidest thing that includes. What an owlbear? Is that large?
Owlbear would be considered large, yeah.
Like, that's silliness. Just slapping it around the gaff.
What's even better is if you're going for like an archery fighter, you can do that from a distance. Because I'm just going to push you with these arrows. Just going to like right between the eyes 3 times in a row. Bang, bang, bang. Well, 3 times in a row at level 11.
Level 9. Oh,
level
yeah,
9
no, with the extra attacks.
I'm talking about with the extra attacks. You 3 times in a row, you can do it at level 11.
Hey. Hey, you could do it 4 times with action surge, you silly goose.
You could, but at level 11, you can do it 6 times with action surge.
So you could travel, make someone travel 60 feet away. Wild.
Hell yeah! It's like the old Eldritch invocations with I think it's not Eldritch Spear. There was one invocation, I can't remember the name of it now, that you could cause them to be pushed like 5 or 10 feet back with each Eldritch Blast Beam.
Oh, I think I obviously I'm the fighter, but I think it happened in one of our campaigns. Wasn't able to pull it off as much as he would have wanted, because at that stage everything was bigger than large, so it couldn't be like, it's too big. Yeah, it's considered larger than life. Damn it.
To be fair, I think there's been very few. Well, I say very few, but like there hasn't been an incredible amount of big bads that I've thrown at you that have been like huge or gargantuan. A couple of the big bads I've used throughout the campaigns have just been like large or just humanoids.
They've just been spellcasters and it's shit. I haven't picked up Mage Slayer yet, and I'm pissed. Well, but we're not going to get into that.
We're not going to get into that. That is a different episode. You can talk about your frustrations of Luminaria campaign there.
Yeah, fuck me, I will.
So we talked about the 2 extra attacks, which is the base. That's the same as before, same level. That's also when the cantrips and everything get upgraded. So once again, everyone is kind of coming forth. Level 13, we have study attacks, which is a new
level. Which is great. Yeah, no, and it's really good because at this stage you've got 2 extra attacks, like you said. So that's 3 attacks without action surge. And the most infuriating thing to do as a fighter, because you've probably picked up, at this stage, you've more than likely picked up whatever your -5/+10 is, depending on which weapon you're using, and missing all of those attacks. It's infuriating. Luckily, level 13 has got you. So it pretty much, you if you miss one of your hits, your next one will hit. You can decide for it to hit. You just have to miss before, which is fine, which means you'll always at least hit one.
I do have one correction to make against that, Leo, unfortunately. It's you gain advantage on the next attack roll. Yeah, and that can happen more than once. So you can affect it with action surge. If you can potentially have it proc 3 times in a turn, but if you're proccing it 3 times in a turn, that ain't good.
Yeah, no, it's a bit grim. Sometimes the dice are not on your side, but it's nice. Which before, when you hit level 13, you got just Indomitable. You got nothing. So it's brand new again. We've definitely, this is the fighters definitely gotten the most out of the 2024. I know some of the other classes also have access to the fight mastery. Sorry, the weapon mastery. It's gotten all this other stuff, a bit more spice. Like I said earlier, don't put it in your coffee, kids. It's no bueno.
That is up to you if you want to put spice in your coffee, but personally, I'll stick to sugar and mint.
No spice. It's not an option.
Speaking of spice and hot drinks, I have actually got a tub of, was it like chili hot chocolate? But like back home in Ireland, I've only given it a sniff and it already smells funky, but like I still need to actually try it.
That's wrong though.
Chili and chocolate are meant to go really, really well together.
Says who? Who? Point them out, and I'll kick them in the dick. If they don't have a dick, I'll glue one on, because that's wrong.
You really think it's wrong?
It's just yeah, chili and chocolate. Like now, granted, there's a whole thing about putting loads of salt in chocolate. So I do know someone, and I never drink their hot chocolate because they always put in like a crazy amount of salt. Like, once again, I'm glad we have a theme. Like when you're making like mash, you put in a shitload of salt for seasoning. Yeah, same amount just goes nuts on that hot chocolate because the salt brings out the chocolate or something. I don't care. Don't season my hot chocolate. Don't put in chilies. Let it be scrumptious. Maybe some cream. That's the only thing you can add to a hot chocolate. It's perfect. Just let's not just overcomplicate it. That's what they tried doing back in 2014, calling the fighter subclass martial archetypes. No, call it a subclass. Let everyone be happy.
You have some strong opinions on these matters, Leo.
Someone's got to, and if it's not me, no. I can guarantee you, by the time you come back to Ireland, that spicy hot chocolate is going to assume to be a mistake and will be thrown out. Guaranteed.
I really hope not, because I do want to try it. I've had it for ages and I just haven't made it. I've been scared.
And if not, I'll call your fiance and make sure it is.
Oh, you are a dick. If I could easily get a plane home right now, I would. I
got it.
It's okay. We got D&D on Wednesday. You're going to feel the pain then.
Am I going to feel the pain? The wrath of the DM.
Ah, yes, because you remember how last session went.
Why Iota? It's called payback.
Yeah, get fucked. Anyway, the base fighter features take a big jump from 13 to 19, which is the common feature that everybody gets in the new 2024, and that is epic boons, which are crazy.
Does everyone get one?
Everyone at level 19, if you're level 19 in a class, you get an epic boon.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you have to be level 19 in a particular class. I think you have to be level 19 in general.
Oh, excuse me. It's a player level 19. Excuse me.
It's a player level 19. Yeah. But you gotta be. There's very few. You've got to really multi-class properly to get the access to the feat. Like so, what if you do multi-class at 19, you need an ASI within 19 and 20. But they're very good. Super fun.
I think epic boons require just their own thing, but just as a little taster, like you could get true sight out to 60 feet, you could get extra HP, you could instead of falling to 0 hit points, you can fall to 1 and then immediately heal half your hit points. It's nuts. But then again, so is high level combat. So it's you really get to choose something that'll make your character feel epic, and that is so cool.
I mean, it's like there's some really interesting ones, right? You can obviously increase your hit point maximum. You can gain another 9th level spell slot if you already have one. You can also, when you take damage from any source, you can reduce it to 0. Done. That's it. No roll. I think the most interesting part about it is no roll. It's so, once again, loads of, obviously there's definitely some for spellcasters and non-spellcasters, but that's kind of just how they've separated it, rather than these are for wizards, these are for warlocks, these are for fighters. They've just done like this will help a spellcaster, this won't.
Like one of the ones that's recommended specifically for fighter is the boon of combat prowess, which is one other thing to note as well is that all epic boons will increase one ability score of your choice by 1 to a maximum of 30. I, as a DM, have still yet to figure out how to naturally increase your score maximums above 20, other than class features. But a maximum of 30, that's nice. And then, especially for Boon of Combat Prowess, you have Peerless Aim, which is when you miss an attack roll, you can hit instead. And once you use that benefit, you can't use it again until your next turn. So once per turn, if you miss, you instead hit. So as Leo, you were mentioning earlier on, with your whatever -5 plus 10s you've taken, you can guarantee a hit on those misses.
Yeah, no, it's really, now granted there's some goofy ones in here as well. You've got the boon of immortality, where you just stop aging and you can't die from old age. So they still have some flavor to them, but I don't know, my instincts within me, it's like, oh, you gotta optimize aging. Why would I go for that? But if you're a far more fun D&D player than I am, you've got options as well. The interesting thing about the level 30, by the way, is that if you have other effects that boost, let's say, I believe there's one that boosts up your dexterity. So your dexterity maximum is 30. That's what it means. So if you have other effects that would normally boost it up, but you've been capped at 20, it now includes that as well.
Yeah, so if you for some reason have something that's boosted up to 21, but you do have to be careful because those, like especially the belts of Hill Giant Strength and the belts of Giant Strength in general, they don't boost your score up by that much. They set your score at that much. So any bonuses you get underneath that just affect the base score rather than what it becomes when you have that item attuned.
Yeah, no, I'm about to say that would be slightly different. Yeah, like about to say I've currently got a character where I was kind of just choosing Dex because I needed Dex, and then can't remember exactly which boon I chose, and my Dex shot up because I kept just choosing it, even though I was already capped at 20. It shot up to about 26 because it had, instead of it being capped at 20, it was capped at 30 because of the boon.
Yeah.
So when you're planning out your character, you could be like, oh, it's not going to be wasted once I hit level 19. Now granted, that might be quite a distance away. because the ASI before that for fighter would be 16, which is 3 levels. Can be unless your DM is just shooting through a story. It could be quite a long time, but it definitely encourages you to complete your fighter level, your fighter class, because from my experience, you always want to multi-class, because the fighter is good, but especially in the middle, there's not much extra to it. So you're like, oh, I'm kind of just trudging along, because before there was no tactical master, there's no studied attacks. No, from my experience, the subclass feature either has a good 15 level 15 or a level 10. It's very rare that they're both quite good, especially for 8 and 18. Like between those three, one of them will be good, which kind of nearly encourages you to either multi-class in it or not choose it if only the level 18 feature is good.
Yeah.
So I think what they're trying to do with the 2024 update, they're trying to encourage people to actually finish fighter, which I have no arguments with.
No. You can take that. You can ride that class all the way to level 20 when you get your 4th attack.
Yeah, which I've done fighter loads of times. Every campaign, I've always felt the requirement to multi-class. But now you'll have, I think there'll be a lot more level 20 fully fighters, because you just don't see that in other classes where they feel the need to multi-class.
Just from 2014, like I'm gonna take a stab and say that Battle Master was like your favorite subclass.
Yeah, it's up there. You got Battle Master or Echo Knight. It's one of those two.
Echo Knight was fun, although I think that was Critical Role subclass from Wildman.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not in the original. Out of the original ones, absolutely Battle Master. Sorry. Yeah. Champion has a really good vibe at the start, and then gets quite. I'm pretty certain that's the one that has a really good first. Like when you start off, because obviously you crit at 19. But I actually can't remember what the level 18 is. But I think that's the other good part about it. And I'm like, so I gotta fuck around for over 15 levels for this class to get good. That's ridiculous. No, thank you.
I think Champion is one of the subclasses that they did quite heavily improve for fighters going forward. For 2024, so we can take a look at that one at a later date and just have like a full dive through. But Battle Master has always been one of those subclasses that I felt should have at least some of the features in it just been melded into the base class fighter, which I think they did to an extent with say the likes of like weapon masteries. At least they're technically like mini maneuvers, which is quite cool. Just extra things you can do with your attacks.
It definitely you can tell they've I think they've reworked some of the maneuvers because of the weapon mastery, because it gives them so many more options. Where I think the maneuvers now, they kind of take a bit more action, they take a bit more resources. So it's like some of them now require a bonus action instead of it being a free action. Some of them have a bit less utility, but because of that, they're able to. I don't think you'll feel that loss when it comes to the weapon mastery.
Yeah,
and of course they've allowed it come level 15. You're allowed to use your priority die whenever you want, instead of at a certain once per turn. Sorry, once on each of your turns. It's now once per turn. It's they're really putting a lot of legwork into the fighter, which is really good to see. Because before, if it wasn't magic, it wasn't useful.
It very much favored spellcasters for the 2014, and I do feel like we need to play around with the 2024 ones in a campaign just to see if whether it be intentional or like accidental bias towards spellcasters or magic users in general kind of peers through most aspects of the campaign. But I do feel that these changes for fighters are incredible, and I love them, and it kind of makes me want to play a fighter a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Might stray away from Ranger for a one shot if someone please wants to take over the DM seat for a little while.
Yeah, so you gotta fish out another DM. You gotta catch him with a net or something.
The catch him
But
with the net. But we did that with the campaign before this with Curse of Strahd, which I was incredibly proud of Killian taking over the DM seat for a little while. He'd shown interest in it before. I think he'd said he might have wanted to try and do a one shot, but then after we finished our campaign set in Wildmount, he kind of reached out and said, "Would anybody have any what's the word I'm trying to think of here?"
Don't worry, you got this, buddy.
Oh, why did you do this to me?
You've told a story before.
I've told many stories, but my brain don't work good. If anyone had any, we'll just say strong feelings towards him being a DM, and everyone was like really supportive and said yeah, and I was kind of like, oh cool, because I'd never actually been a player in a full campaign before. It was just like a little, maybe like one shot here or there, and I think even then I was the full DM up until the end of Wildmount.
Did you just describe opinion?
Did I what?
What was the word you were struggling for? Was it opinion?
Perhaps. It's okay. Look.
Yeah. No. Hopefully we'll be able to get Killian on. Hopefully we'll be able to get Killian on later, and maybe he can kind of divulge into more. That's not the correct word either. But I'm just gonna saunter straight past it.
See, at least your brain works
kind
enough
of the
to
only
like
person...
bullshit a word, whereas mine just kind of froze, and I was just like, yeah.
You know that moment when your iPhone needs that iOS update and you take a screenshot? Yeah, that's you, pal.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not an iPhone guy, are you? You've no idea.
Android.
Man, honestly, when you're an iOS behind and you take a screenshot, it literally, I don't know, it recalls everything it's ever done in life. It is angry at you.
It just pastes everything that was stored in the clipboard.
Yeah. And now, actually, I've given Fighter quite a bit of shit today regarding it not being interesting, or flavorsome. While obviously they have the subclasses where they just have to do more work, if that makes sense. What's funny is that there is a subclass of fighter that I have never heeded any attention towards, which has actually gotten a small amount of activity regarding the update. I don't even know if the Psy Warrior.
The P is silent.
the Psy?
Psy Warrior, yeah.
So it's P for pterodactyl, isn't it?
Yeah, it's P for pterodactyl and T for tsunami.
Well, PT, mum. P for pterodactyl, T for tsunami. It's not rocket science.
For what you said there, though, with in regards to like giving fighters shit for not being interesting enough, I do feel like that is a serious fault with me as a DM, because fighters even in 2014, like while they didn't feel interesting, they are. It's just
someone who plays this fighter, they're not.
You do need a little help from the DM, because just to help them feel that a little bit more interesting back in the 2014. But with 2024, it's got that organic interest.
Yeah.
And I do feel like I'm not going to claim to be an expert on talking about opinions on D&D, even though I've been playing as a DM for nearly fucking 6 years.
That's gross. That's so much of your life.
That's so much.
Taken by 3 letters. Taken by 3 letters, man.
Taken by 3 letters.
The same one.
Tell me honestly right now, would you give those 6 years back to not play D&D?
Do I pick up a different skill? I could be a pilot. I think I've done enough hours of D&D if I was in the air, I could get a pilot's license.
Your response was, no, Dan, I love our weekly D&D sessions where we all play the imaginary things together. There was a correct answer in this.
Yeah, unfortunately, you did not answer it. But I think, I don't know, are you saying you wouldn't take a pilot's license? You could fly a plane. I couldn't even drive a car.
I'm quite happy being grounded and not responsible for other people's lives while I'm touching controls. That's perfectly fine with me.
Oh, I'm not talking about like Ryanair or Emirates. I'm just talking like a little fluffy train. Not fluffy train, fluffy plane. That doesn't even make it. Like, for Indiana Jones in the beginning of the first movie.
You want to fly?
Granted, that's an aquaplane. I'll fly an aquaplane. That's 2 for 1 right there.
I'm a boat now. I'm a plane.
And then somehow I'll land on land. They surely just land in a port. Surely.
Possibly, I'd say so. Yeah.
Sorry, massively distracted. But yes,
just to reiterate, no, I would not take a pilot's license over playing D&D. I like this. This is like my weekly. I get to be creative and play with my friends.
I never said I didn't like it. I never said that. I just threw it out there that you could probably get a pilot's license with the time. I think I'd be worried with if our stats were brought down, where it's like how many tangents, how long was the tangent. As you can obviously tell from this, we tangent hard.
We tangent hard, but it's fun.
I wouldn't replace it. But I wouldn't want to see the stats.
No, just for you guys at home, we actually had to implement a rule in, I think, was it Wildmount, because we kept going on too many tangents. That if someone like actually registered, because sometimes we'll just talk shit and it'll be half an hour before we get back to the main like plot quest or whatever the fuck the party we're doing. Someone would just yell tangent and then we'd be like, right, sorry, and then just get back to playing D&D because someone would derail it by saying something that they were just reminded of, and then it would just spark a conversation.
Like how we got from Psy Warrior to Aquaplanes. It happens very seamlessly in our group.
It's just, I don't know how to describe it. It just happens. But I suppose that's a good thing, because we can just sit and talk about shit for hours and we don't give a damn.
That's what you think? I've got an appointment in 2 hours.
Well, we can talk for another hour and 49 minutes then, can't we? I'm giving you 11 minutes to get ready.
11 minutes. Interesting. What do you plan for me to do in those 11 minutes?
Get to the appointment.
Amazing. Now it's time to hear from our sponsor. I'm leaving it blank for now, but I'm hopeful.
As we were talking about earlier on, Lavazza, reach out. We were talking about coffee this session. You know, I'm a coffee glazer myself. I do enjoy
but you're not
the occasional
Lavazza,
brew.
are you? Surely you want Nescafe, no?
You don't call a brother out like that.
I don't think Lavazza are too keen on it. I think we can get the other one.
It's like, we're not name dropping the competition because Lavazza.
But in case Lavazza are uninterested, we will take a competitor. We'll take anything. Cards Against Humanity. Just please.
Is that our slogan now? Cards Against Humanity. Just please.
Just please. Now, you can take that in a multitude of ways. We could be very selfless lovers, or we are begging on our hands or knees for any form of sponsorship. It's very versatile.
Yeah. Or like it could be very much like the party's current group name.
Absolutely. Mr. TM, surely you want to call it out.
Yeah.
It's your campaign.
It is. It's your party too, though. The wonderful folks in this D&D group, as Leo has said, he came up with the name, dubbed themselves Are Ye Women Lovers. After the first time, I thought they were joking. They were not. It kept repeating.
Yeah, what is a woman lover, you may ask yourself. And luckily, we're asking that too. And trying to find out where they are. And just locating them for our female audience. Audience. I assume that's the single for audience.
I would usually just go our audience member.
Oh, fair. That makes more sense. Is audience a word?
I don't know. Just fucking look it up. It's gotta be a word. It's gotta be.
Oh, it is, but it's actually name of an audio technical expertise. So audience, hey, hit us up too.
We're name dropping
once
all
again,
the potential sponsors
please.
in this episode.
Absolutely, audience, love honey. We'll take anything. We'll make it work.
I mean, could you imagine Are You Women Lovers sponsored by Love Honey? That'd be amazing.
It's just that's a sponsorship that makes sense.
That has to be the sponsor for the series where we get the whole D&D group on. Now that will be chaos.
At that stage, the slogan is the dildo of consequences is rarely lubed. And that's how we always segue to that sponsor. Luckily, you can get your lube at Love Honey. Love Honey, where everything's wet and wonderful and not and indoors.
And I think that's a wonderful turning off point for today.
That's where we're ending it, and we're done. That, dear listeners, brings us to the end of another session where the dice are hard, the jokes are harder, and our standards are at an all-time low. If you enjoyed this chaos, be sure to follow and subscribe. If not, at least we finished, even if you didn't. Goodbye!